Hi there, welcome to Unscripted. Today we have a conversation about addiction and alcohol recovery. And a quote I found says, "Sobriety is not a one-time choice. It's a decision that we have to make over and over again." Let's begin the conversation from right here, Radisson Blue in Arboretum. Welcome to Unscripted.
It's been a long journey, struggling with alcohol, getting to my end, getting help, going through rehab, which was not easy at all, rising above it, but apart from that, going a step further and allowing myself to be vulnerable, to tell people about my story, because I believe I'm not the only one who struggled with alcohol abuse and all of these substances. So I'm proud of you, despite all the stumbling blocks, that I've been able not only to rise above my story, but give hope, not only to individuals, but to families who have people like me who struggle.
Hi there, welcome to Unscripted. Thank you as always for tuning in. It is a pleasure having you with us. And with me today is this beautiful lady, and we seem to be color-coded. I love it.
Yes.
You look fantastic.
Thank you, so do you.
Thanks for making time for us, Asante. So maybe you can tell people at home who you are and why you're here today, or what you'd like them to know about you.
So my name is Wendy Kinyanjui. An enthusiastic daughter of God. I'm a lawyer by profession, a trainer and a cybersecurity analyst.
Fantastic.
Apart from that, I recently launched a program called Celebrate Recovery, which I'm hoping to
talk about today.
But most of all, I hope that in me sharing my story and being vulnerable, that an individual or a family gets hope about their people.
So let's start with your story. Like you said, you're talking about Celebrate Recovery.
Yes.
Recovery from addiction. Could be alcohol or other things, I guess.
Yes.
Yes, that's what, it's not specific to just that.
Yes.
But your journey in relation to alcohol. Tell me when it started and what caused you to begin consuming more than is it the normal rate? Normal amounts of alcohol.
Normal amounts of alcohol.
What triggered it? How did it start?
So maybe just a bit of background.
Sure.
The only girl, born and raised by two parents.
Okay.
I have an older brother and a younger brother.
Okay.
Went to school, did primary in Nairobi, did high school at Kenya High,
All right.
and went to join the University of Nairobi to study law.
Got it.
Right before and when I started and when I joined uni,
Yeah.
I started tasting alcohol.
Just interest, like,
Just interest.
Okay.
The people I hung around with, that I was hanging around with.
Okay.
But also, I don't come from a background where it was particularly frowned upon.
Got it.
So I have to say that before I joined university or finished high school, I wasn't waiting, like, oh my gosh,
I can't wait to have my first.
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
So when it was offered, it's like, oh, let's have a drink. My first few times were like, oh no. Then I tried it, and I enjoyed the mellow feeling. I have to say, though, that I should have quit at that point.
Really?
Yes. Because my tolerance for alcohol didn't seem to be normal compared to all the other people.
I see.
I was what they would call a lightweight. And I came to learn later on in my journey that people absorb alcohol.
Respond differently to AA?
Thank you. Respond differently.
Yeah.
I didn't respond well. So I was one of those people who would black out the first one, get drunk the first one. Compared to everyone else, you could have 3 drinks, I have 2, or you have the same amount, and I will be way more drunk than anyone else.
Got it.
Yeah.
And for you, was it just for pleasure? You're like, this is nice. I like how I feel, like you mentioned, and you continue taking. Or were there any underlying issues that led to you consuming more
Before
alcohol?
it was for pleasure.
Just pleasure.
Before it was just for social things. And I realized, school was fine, with family it was fine, but when I was in a social setup, I needed the kick, for that mellow feeling.
Yeah.
And I'm bubbly and enthusiastic and all of that.
Yeah.
Now, what happened years on And they say that first the man takes the drink, then the drink takes the drink, then the drink takes the man. So what I realized is I'm one of those people who sweep things under the carpet.
I see.
So it became my escape when things would happen, whether it's in school, whether it's with family. I mean, just things of life.
Okay.
I've always told myself, I don't get angry. In fact, I don't shout at people. I'm very composed.
I'm zen and calm.
But the reality is, I would just wait for Friday. I'm like, I'm waiting. And that was my escape.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
When did it become a problem?
I would say around 2016, 17.
What happened?
And generally 2017 was the breaking point.
Really?
For me, completely. I had started though asking myself some really tough questions, and I remember asking a really good friend of mine who we worked together with, and I asked her, is this all there is to life? Because I feel like it was a scam.
Really? The rat race?
Yes. Like, were we supposed to go to school and then go to university and then do this? And it just, my life felt very, very empty. And when I asked her, I remember her telling me, I don't think you're in a good place.
Okay.
But, I was just like, no, it's okay. I just kind of left it.
Okay.
But
it stirred something in you.
It stirred something in me. I just felt very unfulfilled. But I remember all of a sudden, I would start having blackouts when I went out.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Meaning...
when you're out with your friends or by yourself, would you drink actually?
By myself?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, never.
In fact, I think that's how I covered it up. Because I always told myself the alcoholics and people who struggle with drugs are those people who drink by
alone
themselves.
at home.
And you're drinking alone at home. So if I wanted to have a drink, I would call people. What are you up to? Let's do this.
I see.
So I would mask around and say, no. Me, I'm fine. I mean, I drink with people. And
I'm
mine
a social drinker.
Mine is a social drink.
I see.
But I remember not once, I won't say all the dirty stories, but a couple of times, you wake up at home, you're just like, what?
How did I get here?
How did I get here? You remember the night until 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. I would never drive drunk or anything, and I was using Ubers and taxis. And I look at my M-Pesa statement and I'm like, I came home at 5. Those are many hours not to remember.
Yeah.
And I would love to tell you, Grace, that it was once, twice, thrice. But it was more than that.
For several.
Yes. And unfortunately, those are the things that people don't talk about. You're busy, call your friend, you're like, how was yesterday? It was nice. You're kind of waiting for someone to lead up to the story and tell you, what happened? But no one talks, so you just kind of, okay. So there are a few instances like that. You watch opportunities slip you by.
Like what? What did you feel like you missed out on because of?
I always wanted to go abroad. I always wanted to study abroad for my further education. I did get opportunities. I was too busy to go a step further to apply for visas, to do all of these things. Too busy because my evenings, I was either trying to recover from the weekend or planning the next trip.
Wow. Or
planning for the next big outing.
Yeah.
I'm a family person and I enjoy time with my family. I'm not married, I don't have kids, but with my parents, my siblings, I have a larger family, and I enjoy time with that. I'd stopped enjoying it unless I was convinced there's going to be an after plan.
Wow.
Oh.
Then you'll show up.
Then I'll show up. If there isn't, I'm like, no. Or we kind of pre-game with a few people. I was not interested. And I think for me, those started being
signs or red flags.
Yeah, they started being signs.
How was it for you? I mean, because you said all the way you were working at this point.
Yes.
So what was taking a toll? You mentioned your family, not spending time with family.
Yes.
But in terms of money, talk about money spent.
Yes.
How did this affect your finances?
Completely.
Completely.
I never saved. I mean, I worked for maybe 3, 4, 5 years. I was never saving. And you're busy living or high flying in Nairobi.
Yeah.
You go somewhere, you're enjoying the good drinks. I would go to the nice clubs and all of this.
Yeah.
A few times, buy things by the bottle and everything. But I'm not wise enough to buy a parcel of land. I'm not wise enough to save, and I've always been a hustler, even in my profession. And you know, I'm teaching, I'm doing all of these things, but it's so that I can afford.
Afford the lifestyle.
Yes, and so that we can go out of town, and so that we can do this.
Did you have any? Like we said, alcoholism or any addiction is a symptom to something.
Yes.
Was there something inside you were dealing with that you would keep masking with alcohol?
I think for me was my identity. I had never consciously decided that I don't want to be a person who overindulges. I don't want to live a careless, careless lifestyle.
Okay.
So I went with a crowd, and maybe I would say now that I've done Celebrate Recovery, which we'll talk about, a bit of people pleasing.
I see.
Codependency, where you go out of your way to do things that are highly inconvenient.
We do that as women a lot.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. So for me, it was just an identity crisis. And things happen in the family. You know, you lose loved ones. I've lost a cousin, an auntie here, a grandmother, and all of that. And I remember during those grieving times, I really, really drank.
That's how you coped.
That's how I coped. And now that I think about it, now that I'm sober, I tell people, I don't know how sober people handle it, because you feel pain from within.
I see.
You feel it completely.
Okay.
If you have a rough day at work, you feel it. If someone pisses you off, you do get angry. I would pack that for me and tell myself, no, I don't lash out, I don't get angry. This is the kind of person I am. But the truth of the matter is, I'm full of those emotions. I just used to pack them.
Okay. Let's take a short break. When we come back, you can tell us about the day you quit your job and what led to that. Stay right there. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. The day you called in sick is the same day that you quit your job. What led to that? Take us to when it turned for the worst. And what led to that decision?
It was a Monday morning, 26th February 2018.
Wow, you'll never forget that day.
I would know. I will not. That Saturday evening I had gone out. That Sunday also. For some reason, all Monday mornings I was always able to kind of shake it off and go to work.
Okay.
This particular Monday I had this overwhelming sense of hopelessness.
What did you feel? Like you can't do this anymore?
I can't do this anymore. Like I'm not where I should be in life. Like I'm struggling. Like, is this how it all ends? And I knew that because out of all of those things I was feeling, I wanted to have a drink. And I think for me, I was like, oh, this is how it ends. It's not those people you see in the trenches or in the ditches. I am that person. This is how my life ends. And I remember calling my friend and telling my friend what I'm going through and all of that. And my friend was like, I'm going to come and see you. I told my friend, you know, don't come. Today, I'm going to tell on myself to the highest authority in the land after God. And I called my dad, and I needed to tell on myself.
Okay.
So I walked down.
Wise girl.
Somewhere and had shots.
Okay. You needed shots first
Hey,
before
Dutch courage. Oh, yeah. You don't just call your folks and tell them the way you're struggling with alcohol. I needed Dutch. I needed a boost. I knew I was going to do it, but I needed some boost.
Okay.
And call my dad, frantic. I need help. I need help. I need help. Where you come now? Wow. And he came with my mom.
How do they take it?
First of all, I don't even know what they thought was going on, but I was breaking down. If there's one day I would have ended my life, was that day.
Which was bad.
It was bad. So I'm passionate about telling my story because I believe mine is not a unique one.
Yeah.
Yes, it's alcohol, but there are people who whatever circumstance you're going to, there are people who have rock bottoms.
Of course.
Yes, that was my rock bottom.
Okay.
So my dad came, what's going on? And I said, I'm a functioning alcoholic. In fact, I would like to end my life. I'm struggling.
Yeah.
I don't, it was just a breakdown.
Okay.
How
did they take it?
They were in shock. They were really in shock. They had known I struggled with alcohol, but they didn't think it was to this extent. And my mom had of a place called Teen Challenge.
Okay.
She had someone talk about it. And she had my auntie talk about it. But that day she said, okay, would you like us to get help? What would you like? Would you go somewhere? Would you see someone? Would you go to an institution? I said, yes. Can we organize? When can you go? I said, today. So on a Monday morning when I should have been going to work, we went and saw my auntie and I went to a rehabilitation center.
You were ready on that day?
I just knew I never wanted to feel like that again. Whatever that was, I needed help. And maybe I was a bit...
I'm glad you made that call though.
Assertive, aggressive.
Yeah.
I think for me, that was rock bottom and I needed help now. It was like, SOS, like emergency. So that day I called my brother and he came and I told him, go and tell my boss I want to quit. And tell him I want to quit. And I allowed my brother to tell my boss why I was quitting.
Okay.
Tell him I'm quitting because of alcohol.
Okay.
And I need to deal with it and tell my supervisor that.
How did they take it? Did you love your job? Did you love what you were practicing law at this point?
Yes,
I loved it.
I loved it. It was a job that I really, really enjoyed.
I love that.
But I thought that Monday I was willing to give it up to have that drink in the morning. So I figured it's not worth it. I might as well get help.
I love that.
Yes.
That you're willing to take care of yourself. You kept that aside and you're like, you know what? It's time for me to seek my healing.
Yes, but I have to say, when you say it like that, it sounds like a well thought out process.
But no.
I feel like just God grabbed me. He's like, you need help today.
Got it.
So I went to...
And how was that? Yeah, tell us about even your first day of rehab. How was that like?
I was drunk. Remember, I had
a couple of shots.
I went in drunk, but I was able to fill in the forms and all of that. They told me the program is for a year, and I was not comfortable with that. So,
what does that mean? You stay there for a year or in and out?
You stay there for a year. So Teen Challenge is a faith-based rehabilitation center. Okay. They told me it's going to be around, I should be there for a year. It's voluntary. There are people who come for 2 weeks and decide, I've quit. There's some who come for 3 months. There's some who come for 8 months. I just figured there's some sense why it is for a year.
Exactly.
But one of the things I said is I'm going to be true to myself.
Okay. What did that mean?
I need to deal with whatever it is that brought me here. Because it's not easy to say that you are in a rehab center. But if I didn't deal with whatever it is that took me there, should the same set of circumstances present themselves again, I would have landed right back there.
There you go.
So that I really got it.
Okay.
So I stayed there for a year. It is hard.
You did a whole year?
Yes.
How was that like?
It's hard. It's like going back to boarding. I mean, I was 26 at this point. But it hits you like a train because I struggled with alcohol, but I met people who had struggled with weed, who had struggled with real drugs, heroin, cocaine, real things. And you want to judge them, but I realized that that could have been me. You see people who, I went in when I was 26, you see people who come in when they're very young. It's called Teen Challenge, but you have to be an adult to enter. Who are in their 19, 20, 21. But there's some people who are in their 40s and 50s. And you see that could easily have been me. And I'm glad my eyes were opened to that. So I did do the year.
Okay. You
stay for a while, your people start seeing you, and that was nice. I saw God restore my relationship with my parents and all of that.
So how did the experience transform you? And did you face any kind of stigma from the outside world? Having to take off a year, like you mentioned, at 26 years old. High-flying lawyer, like you said. You were hustling so you could sustain your lifestyle.
Yes.
Then you decide, you know what? Enough is enough.
So first you stay in and then you start integrating back into society. So you start coming back, going home for a day and then 2 days. So when you're there, first of all, you don't use your phone.
No distractions.
No internet, all of that. So it's like a factory reset. I was really, really scared about coming back into society.
Yeah.
What do I tell people? Where have I been?
Exactly.
And there are people who chose to say, oh, I'd gone out of the country, I'd done this. I would rather not say than lie. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to say the truth. And so I went, 2018, came out in February 2019. And I'll say this, God is not in the business of shaming people. There's no day I've ever felt ashamed that I went in.
Amen.
And then it was very humbling. You realize people's lives moved on.
Right.
So I remember going to court and thinking, oh my goodness. You meet a colleague and you think they'll ask you, where have you been? It's been a whole year.
Yeah.
Then you meet someone and they say, I haven't seen you in a while. And you want to tell them, excuse me, I changed my life. I'm a new whole person. That was very humbling. And what I took from that is you deserve to take time off, even if not physically in an institution like I did. Preach. Everyone deserves to take time off to better your life.
That's true.
Because people's lives continue, and it's very, very humbling.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I guess for me, what did you learn about yourself from that experience?
That there's nothing too bad that I've done that God can't forgive. Amen. That God can change. He can help me change anything. I think I used to think, am I really going to be sober? What does it feel like to live a sober lifestyle? What does it feel like to get that fast? But I also learned that we have the ability to change.
What is different this time?
I decided that it was bigger than me. I think that the time I decided, you know what, maybe I tried life my own way. There was a lot of, for lack of a better word, madhogodhani and just all of that. Yeah. And it's okay to fall. I think we are really, really scared of falling and accepting. We'd rather make excuses. We'd rather justify.
Yeah. And each day, what would give you the strength to keep going and say, you know what? I won't turn back to the bottle.
I think I stopped looking at it very holistically and saying, I'm going to be sober all my life. Okay. And I'm never going to drink.
How do you look at it?
I break it down to, my goal for today is just to not drink for 24 hours.
Fantastic.
When I first got out, that was it.
Okay.
My goal in life is not to enter the alcohol section when I enter a supermarket. When you break it down into small,
it's manageable.
Bite size, it's manageable rather than saying, oh, in fact, for the next 25 years, I'm not going to drink. That feels very overwhelming. Yeah. So each day I just used to say, you know, just today, I'm not going to drink. And then what I also did, I changed my number. So people couldn't reach me. The only people I could reach were people I wanted to reach. And took time off my friends. All right. So my friends were not bad people. Okay. You know, they were professionals and all of that. It's just that I used to drink with them. So I decided, let me try things differently. Let me learn how to do things in a sober way. Yeah.
Before you can re-engage with the world.
Re-engage. So now even when I re-engaged, I told them my story, and it kind of just highlights. Yeah. And what happens is some people are fine and will tell me what their story is about. I decided I prefer not to go to lounges or where people are drinking. Some people will say, oh, let's go out and then you can just take Red Bull. So I decided no. Okay. And things like that. But it was very intentional.
I see.
It's like going back to nursery at 26 years old, because I came out when I was 27.
I understand.
It's like going back to nursery.
But thank you for those very practical tips. Because there's someone at home who could be struggling with the same, but they don't know how to, because it's not cold turkey, or rather it's very hard. Yes. I assume to go cold turkey. So just breaking it down goes a long way. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back. Stay right there. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. Now, Wendy, what can you tell someone now watching who is in rehab on the journey to recovery? I know it's not an easy one, but how can you encourage them today?
I think for me it's that there is hope. And we get I would say I probably got 52, 81 chances, 94, that many.
Yeah.
And we always have an opportunity to rise.
That's
we
true.
always do. I think as long as we are alive, there's a chance.
Amen
Yes.
to that.
Yeah.
Do you feel you dealt with the underlying issues of identity?
Do, and I continue to.
It's a journey, isn't it?
It's a journey.
Yeah.
Every time things are going on in my life, and once in a while, I will feel like having a drink.
In those moments, what do you do?
I call someone. Okay. One of the things I've learned is you always need one or two people close to you that you can say, you know what, I feel like having a drink. And someone once told me, call me at that point when you feel like having a drink, because when you struggle with substance abuse, it's not a switch. You didn't put it on and then when I went to rehab, they just put it off.
Yeah.
No. That was a coping mechanism. So sometimes when I don't feel like coping, you know what? I'm like you. I could have a drink. And at that point, I call and tell someone. And I think that's what it takes to be accountable.
Fantastic.
Yes.
How long have you been sober now?
2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. This is my 4th year.
Look at you.
Yes.
How do you feel having achieved that?
It's exciting.
Well done.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
And it's scary at the same time. I think because I share my story, I make myself accountable to the people around me.
Yeah.
But there's this verse in the Bible, Isaiah 43, 18, 19. Streams in the wilderness. My life was definitely a wilderness, and God makes streams.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like there's nothing too dark.
So tell me how you discovered Celebrate Recovery. You said you discovered this study while you were in rehab.
Yes.
Tell us more.
So an aunt of mine, the one who actually, it's called Auntie Mombi, she'd actually directed my parents to Teen Challenge.
Okay.
And she knew I was there, so she'd been looking for a book to gift me. Couldn't find it. She was out of the country and she gifted me a Celebrate Recovery Bible. And it's nice. It's an NIV Bible, but it had all these additional features. It had people's testimonies and all of that. And the principles, the 8 principles that they go by. And it triggered something in me, and I always used to journal about it. So fast forward, I finished Teen Challenge. I asked my pastor once, who had stumbled upon me at Teen Challenge. He came to share. And I was the one opening the gate, and he's like, oh, you're here, you work here.
Oh, how was that moment?
Horrible, because I think I'd always told all those people, I'm like, you people, I can go and share my story anywhere, but not at Regis Baptist Church, because that's my home church. They know me. So one day when he came, and he took it very personally, in a good way. You know, he got permission from my parents, and he visited me and he walked with me, even when I left. So one day I told him, and don't ask me why or where I got this idea from, that I'd like to share my story in church. And I did. And what happened is people started coming to me. There was a whole group of people. Yes, it was alcohol and drugs, but people with so many other things. And I thought, I think Celebrate Recovery would be the best thing to start at our church.
I see.
So I thought if I ask him, if I ask my pastor, he's going to have all these questions and all of these things. So I decided to write to these people and the founders of the ministry. So I wrote, it was founded at Saddleback Church in California by Pastor Rick Warren, who's done Purpose Driven.
I know.
So I wrote to Pastor Rick Warren. I told them this story that I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I wrote to Purpose Driven Life. I wrote to Celebrate Recovery.
And?
I wrote to the founder of Celebrate Recovery, Pastor John Baker.
Okay.
I wrote on their Instagram. I wrote on their Twitter. I wrote on their LinkedIn. I wrote on their Facebook Messenger.
You reached out all means.
I was just, let me try. If it doesn't work, at least I tried. And they all responded.
Wow.
They linked me up with their international director. Okay. So with that, I went to Reverend Elijah Wanje, and I told him, I think this is what we need to start.
Why did you feel that way? Tell me what learnings or how this has transformed your life since.
So Celebrate Recovery helps people deal with their hurts, hang-ups, and habits. Okay. And I just want to break it down to you in the simplest way possible.
Please do.
That all of us have been through hurts.
True.
And all of us have hurt people. And we've been through certain pains in our lives.
Yeah.
Whether it is growing up in dysfunctional families, whether it is going through tragedy and trauma, whether it is, loss of loved ones and grief. As adults, whether it is going through abuse, emotional abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse, even sexual abuse. If we don't work through these hurts, sometimes we develop,
to manifest.
We do develop hang-ups, and hang-ups are how we perceive ourselves or others because of what we've been through. Okay. So that's why you have your anger, resentment, feelings of not being good enough, self-esteem or self-worth issues, codependency, things like that. It's the emotional things that we take from the pains that we've been through. Now again, if you don't authentically work through your hang-ups, you may develop destructive habits, and the destructive habits are the outward things that we do. So you have your gambling, sexual integrity things, whether you're struggling with pornography or masturbation, moving from one relationship to the other, so they call it love and relationship addiction, food issues, whether it is eating too much or depriving yourself from normal amounts of food, chemical abuse, which was for me alcohol abuse, drug abuse. So it's the things that we are doing outwardly. So sometimes we are busy judging ourselves or others because of what we are doing, but they're always...
You don't know what they're dealing with.
There's always underlying things. It is a Christian program, and the one question it helps answer is what comes in between your relationship with God? What is that one thing? For me, it was alcohol and the underlying things. For some, it's hidden things.
What, I guess, key pointers can you share that help with the healing or help you deal with the stuff? So there's knowledge, you know what the issues are.
Yes.
What's the next step?
I share my story because, first of all, God's grace. But apart from that, to tell families and individuals that it's okay to struggle, but you need to get help. I think now that I've struggled with it, I talk about it, every other family has someone struggling with something, if not all of us. But sometimes we are so scared about asking for help because we feel that people will judge us, society will judge us, people will think you didn't raise your daughter or your son right. But the truth of the matter is, it is okay to get help. And it is important to take responsibility of your actions. Sometimes things could have happened, but you blame everyone around you. Take responsibility.
Tell me how you, in your own healing and recovery journey, you've turned back and you're like, hang on, this is good for me, but it can help so many other people. How has that been? You stepping back and wanting to help others. Even how has that helped in your recovery as well?
My pastor once told me this, that your ministry is in your pain. So yes, I reintegrated and I went back to practice, I teach.
I see.
But my real passion is helping people who have struggled. Yes, with alcohol, but apart from alcohol, all these other things, I believe we should live holistic lives. So when I share my story and I'm open enough to tell you that I messed up. And sometimes I think maybe I should have seen a psychologist or a therapist, but I went to a rehab for a year. That gives me street cred to tell you, I know. I know.
That's so true.
I know how hard recovery can be. I know what it feels like to step into a room and people remember all the things that you've done. And you have to walk with your head held up high.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
What are you most thankful for in this season of your life?
First of all, I'm thankful for the gift of life because COVID is not a joke.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful for my family.
Okay.
One of the things is my family never gave up. That Monday, I had pushed my parents aside. They could have said, oh, now is when you want to come back. Really? Their love has allowed me, it was a reflection of God's love.
Amen.
Yes. And I think that's a thing that families need to know. Like, never really give up on your person.
Yeah.
Apart from praying for them, allow them to know that they can always reach out, even if you show tough love. Allow them to know that they can reach out.
The door is always open.
The door is always open.
You could look in the camera and tell them where they can reach you, where they can find you, if anyone is ready to begin Celebrate Recovery.
I would love to say I'm good with social media, but I'm not. Launch Celebrate Recovery, so it happens every Friday at 6:30 at Regius Baptist Church.
Okay.
6:30 to 8 p.m., so an hour and a half. And my email is wendykinyanju@gmail.com.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so please reach out. I'm always available to talk to individuals and talk to families and share my story. Yes.
Bless you.
Yeah.
Just like that, you found your purpose.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine.
Yes.
Well done.
So thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
I'm feeling very famous.
Thank you for sharing your story. We appreciate it. And to you at home, thank you for making time for us. I hope Wendy has talked to you and you will reach out to her. Her story has been inspiring. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Radisson, for hosting us. Take care of yourselves, good people. Stay safe. Stay positive. Good night and God bless.